Art Makers, this is Sue again, and today we're going to be working on felt Valentine envelopes. We have a make and take kit that is available at Lincoln Park Library that you can come and pick up that will have all of the supplies. What we're going to be making are these little felt envelopes that you can put Valentines or sweet treats or something like that in. They're just a little envelope that's made out of felt, has a cute little heart-shaped button and some cute embroidery. So let's get started. Okay, so here are the things that you'll be getting in the kit. First of all, you'll get a set of instructions and a photograph of the finished project. And then you'll also get some patterns, and you'll need those when you cut your fabric and do your stitching. You will also get some pieces of felt. You'll get a needle, some embroidery floss, and a button. It's helpful also to have some pins, and you'll probably need a pair of scissors. Probably large ones to cut out the big piece of fabric and then smaller ones to do the stitching. If you want to do a pinked edge on the stamp shape like that, you'll need some pinking shears as well. And these have a serrated edge that cuts that little zigzag edge. You don't have to do that, but it's kind of a nice touch. Okay, let's get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is take your pattern, and you're going to take your large piece of felt like that. You're going to cut out the pattern, lay it on top of the felt, and then cut it out to the shape that you want it to be. Okay, now I've already cut out this particular shape, and I've done a little bit of the stitching on it. This is the back stitching that I used to make like the address lines on the front there. You want to try and sew everything to the piece of fabric while it's flat, because it's a little bit easier to manipulate things rather than when it's folded up. Okay, so the next thing that you would put on here would be the white stamp part. And that you can either glue that down or you can stitch it down. I prefer to stitch it down because I think it looks a little bit better. And on that you're just going to be using a running stitch, which is really simple. It's just in and out. You'll leave a space between the stitches. You can even run it like that if you want to. Goes a little faster. Okay, now I'm not going to knot it yet because I'm going to sew a small heart on top of that. So you have a scrap piece of fabric there that will be included in that, and you just want to fold it in half and cut out a little heart shape. Like so. Put that on top. And then I just sew mine on with a big X. Like so. And then on the back side, you just go ahead and knot it a couple times to hold it in place. And snip that off. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is sew on the button. And we have a little heart-shaped button here that we're going to be using. And you'll just sort of place it in the center close to the top. Now if you've never sewn on a button, there is a technique to doing it. This out of the way so you can see. You'll tie a knot in the end of your thread, You'll sew on the top of the fabric first. So the knot will actually be underneath the button. I'm going to put it through there a couple times. Okay, then you take your button, put it through one of the holes, sort of hold it in place, and go to the back. Now the next thing you want to do is take a pin and put it underneath that thread that's on top of the button. And what that's going to do is create just a little bit of slack on the thread. And I'll show you why we do that in just a second. Then you'll stitch over the pin into the other hole, and you'll do that a few times to secure the button in place. And the last time that you come up, instead of going through the hole, you're going to go underneath the button like that. You're going to take the pin out, and then you're going to sort of pull on the button a little bit. And then you're going to wrap the thread around the thread that's holding the button underneath. And then you're going to sort of bend it over and put a knot in the thread there. That way, none of your knots are going to be on the back side. They'll all be hidden by the button, and all you have is just a few stitches showing. And then you're going to clip your thread close to the button. Okay, so now all of our top stitching is done. So we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, the next step is to do the stitching around the edge. And on this you use a blanket stitch. And if you've never done a blanket stitch, it's pretty easy, but it gives a nice finished edge to the item, and it gives sort of a thread along the edge there that will reinforce it a little bit. So what you're going to be doing once you get started is you will just go about a quarter of an inch from your previous stitch to the back, and you'll go through that loop that's formed like so. I don't know if you can see that. And yank on it so it's a little bit tighter. I'll do that a few more times so you can see. Stitch about a quarter of an inch away to the back, go through the loop that's formed, like so. So you get this edge stitch here, and then you have this decorative stitch here. Try your best to be consistent about the distance between your stitches and the depth of your stitches. It just looks a little bit nicer that way. So what you're going to do is you're going to sew all the way around the top and down the side so that it joins the two sides as the envelope is made there. The last step. Okay, we've stitched all the way around the edge. We've got the button sewn on the back. So now the only other thing we need to do is make a buttonhole. Now you don't want to make the buttonhole too big or else it won't stay closed, but you don't want to make it too small so it doesn't stretch out. So what you want to do is you want to fold it over, and you can sort of feel where the button is. Now this is another place where you might want to use a couple of pins just to sort of mark where the button is underneath, like so. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold your envelope in half and just cut a slit in your envelope. And then your button will match right up to that. Like so. And that's all there is to it. Now you've got a cute little envelope that you can put a couple pieces of candy or a little love note or something like that. Tuck it in your favorite person's coat pocket so it's a surprise to find, or put it next to their coffee cup in the morning. It's just a nice little way to present a little gift. You could put a gift card in there. It's also a great project if you don't want to do a Valentine. You can use it as a project for, I don't know, a wedding shower or a baby shower, a birthday, could be for Easter, Christmas, all sorts of things. So that's the basic envelope, and I hope you have fun making it. Thanks for joining us again.